So in the next part of today's lecture, I want to present a short case study from a paper that actually does imitation learning in kind of a clever way for a real-world robotics task. So this is a paper called A Machine Learning Approach to Visual Perception of Forest Trails for Mobile Robots. And in this paper, their goal is to get a quadrotor to fly through a forest. So let's start by playing back their video. So here's an illustration of their quadrotor that's going to be flying through a forest. And their goal is to train this quadrotor with an imitation learning algorithm. So in some ways, it's kind of similar to the driving paper that I showed before. And now there are a few challenges to overcome. We need to be able to actually collect data to train the system. And we need to address that stability issue, right? Because if you remember, in general, we would get compounding errors due to distributional shift, and we need to somehow address them either with a principled approach like Dagger or with a more heuristic approach that takes care of the issue in practice. Now, the way that they actually frame this problem is as a classification problem. So we're going to have discrete actions going left, right, and straight. And here they're going to talk about how they solve the problem. So discrete classification, 3 possible labels. So where does the data come from? Well, flying a quadrotor for a long time is pretty tricky because it runs out of batteries. So what they're actually going to do is they're going to try to collect that data with a person. They're going to have a human actually walking around collecting data, and that's going to be used to train this classifier. It's a deep convolutional classifier, and yes, it has many layers, many weights, many everything. That's great and wonderful. So how's it going to be trained? There we go. There's the illustration. Now, many of you can probably guess at this point what's going on. Why are there 3 cameras? Well, I think you can kind of guess at this point. Kind of similar idea as in that driving paper. The left image will be classified as right, the right image will be classified as left, and the forward image will be classified as straight. So then you can go for a nice walk in the Swiss countryside and use that to train up your quadrotor. And then we can fast forward and see what it does in practice. So this here you can see at the bottom the probabilities that their classifier is assigning to left and right turns. This is, I believe, data from a person. And then here's a quadrotor. Okay, so that's a quick case study on imitation learning.